On today's show, we are interviewing the iconic mentalist, Oz Pearlman. This man, this guest, claims to be able to read minds. And he's already read the minds of supermodel Heidi Klum, the controversial radio talk show host Howard Stern, and former Spice Girl Mel B, in front of a live TV audience while performing on America's Got Talent.
I am picturing a vacation to Fiji that happened in 1998 and someone else here named Jerry. Yay! And that was
He read the mind of Megyn Kelly on The Megyn Kelly Show.
Diane.
Yes. You're freaking me out, Oz.
He's read the mind of TV personality Rachel Ray and celebrity TV personality Ryan Seacrest. And he's read the mind of the TV icon, Miss Kelly Ripa.
Is there any way in the world I could know what you just saw in your mind in bright blue lights?
No.
What was that number?
2.
2.
How did he know that?
But on today's show, The Clay Show, The Thrivetime Show, he's going to attempt to read the mind of yours truly, your Broda from Minnesota, myself. Can he do it? Can he read a completely hollow mind? Can he dive deep into a shallow mind? We shall see. Ladies and gentlemen, come join me as we go to see the Wizard of Oz. Thrive Nation, let's do this! We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We hear he is a whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever, oh, ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he knows.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, and yes, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I am sincerely excited and scared to have our guest on today's show, the iconic Oz Pearlman. Sir, how are you?
Wow, iconic. I have never heard that. That is too much. Thank you, Clay Clark. I'm very excited. Don't be too scared. I'm a sweetheart.
Well, I saw you on America's Got Talent when you mesmerized Heidi Klum, I think scared Howard Stern. Howie Mandel didn't know what to do with you. Mel B was overwhelmed. I've seen you overwhelm Ryan Seacrest, Megyn Kelly, and I'm a mental midget, so I don't know what's going to happen on today's show.
Oh, you and me both. That's the joy of my job. I never know what's going to happen. I don't know what the next mind will have in it, but I try to get inside of there.
For the listeners out there who are not super familiar with what a mentalist is, could you explain what a mentalist is?
So it's very niche. It's the way I would define it is if you were to go to the doctor, you've got the general physician, and that's what more of a magician is, somebody who does sleight of hand and card tricks and coin tricks and things where you know what it means. You can visualize a magician. But when I tell people I'm a mentalist, they get their look like, whoa, what's that? It's a magician of the mind. So I am not supernatural. I don't claim to have psychic powers, but what I do appears very closely as if I am psychic. Some of the things I do are more impressive than what people that are actual psychics. I will be able to tell what you're thinking, what your behaviors will be like. I will know things about your past, things about your future, if you will. Now, not reading palms, but knowing behavior, knowing psychology, knowing the way the human mind thinks. Like the question I get the most at the end of my show, other than how did you do it, is what am I thinking right now? And the truth is, I don't always know what you're thinking, but I've devoted decades to knowing how you think. And that kind of gives me the path of knowing where your mind might go. And that's really the definition of the show, is interactive, kind of wholesome entertainment.
When did you first pick up that you had a gift or a skill, or when did you discover that you had what it took to become a mentalist?
I mean, I don't know that I still have it, but every day I'm trying to reinvent and try and figure out what's next. I keep trying to do what I think will become the ultimate mentalism, but I've been doing it for about 20 years. The mentalism portion is, like I said, it's just like a doctor where you have to learn pre-med, you have to learn all these subjects. Magic is the crash course. I know all about sleight of hand. If you get me a deck of cards we could sit at the bar or restaurant for hours and I could blow you away. But the same foundation of magic I started when I was 13 years old is what I've eventually used for mentalism. And the jump was kind of along the lines of, think of a magician spreads the cards and says, pick one. I got to the point where I would walk up to you, and before you even pick one, I go, you know what? Just think of one. And I'd be like, it's a 6 of diamonds, isn't it? And people are like, how the heck did you know what I mean? They're just, and I go, I just know from iteration, time and time again, how people will think. I know that you thought about the ace of spades, but then you said it's too obvious, and you switched to a diamond, and you said 8, no, and you went 6. I will tell you how you arrived at your thought, and that really freaks people out because people like to think that they're very unique in the way they approach things. And truthfully, people are very, predictable in the sense of how they do things. Their unpredictability is predictable.
I am curious because this is an entrepreneurial show. We have so many business owners that listen to the show. How are you able to fund yourself previous to having your own show?
So before having my own show, honestly, the way I funded myself throughout my teenage years was this. I was as entrepreneurial as you get. I had a business installing and removing boat docks with one of my buddies. When I was 14, I was barely tall enough to stand up next to a bar. I walked to the restaurant that was about half a mile from my house. I walked there, I walked back, and I pitched this little shrimpy 14-year-old kid, and I got a gig. They would pay me $25 an hour. I would do 2 or 3 hours one night of the week at this restaurant called Zia's. This was in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and I was their magician. And I went in there, and I don't know what it was, whether it was confidence, not knowing what failure was yet, so I wasn't fearful of failure, and having a really good sales pitch, which is, here's some awesome tricks. Let me do it one night for free. And, if you don't like me, no hard feelings. And if you do, everyone that walks out here is going to be like, this kid was amazing. We're coming back with more friends. And if people want to send dishes back or they're waiting, for a table, I'm going to fill that void for you. And all I did was give benefits-oriented points to the management. And I don't know how I knew to do that. I think it was kind of my parents put it in me. But I knew that if I was going to keep being a magician, someone's got to pay for all these magic tricks. And my mom and dad weren't doing it. So they go out there and get a gig doing the tricks, and it'll self-fund. So I did this for a while throughout college. I graduated college, University of Michigan. I had an electrical engineering degree, and I worked on Wall Street for a few years. So I worked on Wall Street with a day job prior to quitting and pursuing my dream.
I'm so excited for you. That's so awesome that you get to do what you love every day. I think that's one great thing about being self-employed. Could you share with the listeners about your show and why you're so passionate about it?
So I just enjoy amazing people and having a good time. And honestly, I don't create a challenge environment. So when you see a lot of shows like this, what gets in your head is, oh, this guy has a trick, and I know he does it some way, but I don't know how. And you feel like it's a puzzle. I get that. If you watch something like this and you are annoyed that you don't know how to figure it out, it irritates you. Me too. I'm the biggest skeptic. What I do is much more interactive, so the audience is a part of it. When you leave the show, you feel like you learned some things. You feel like, oh my God, this is amazing how he did it, but it gives you some sort of an angle on the power of the mind and what is possible, because when you walked in that room, you would definitely not have thought that what I'm doing is humanly possible. And I just enjoy meeting different people all over the globe, day in, day out, and I'm always doing new stuff. Not only for my audience's sake, but for my own. If I start doing the same thing over and over, I get very bored of it, and I don't really see an element of challenge, which is great for my live shows and TV appearances. When I go on TV, I always challenge myself. Do something different. Don't just do the same thing you've done before. And I think that's been my kind of secret to success is if you don't stay in your comfort zone all the time, you push yourself, people will see that, and people want more of it. That's how I've had so many TV spots, I think.
But between my partner and I, Dr. Zellner, we have hundreds of employees, and I was showing them in our team meeting the highlights of your performance where you were displaying your skills to John Cena, or you were showing Rachel Ray your super moves, or Kelly Ripa, Ryan Seacrest. So many celebrities have been baffled by your mentalist moves. Was there a particular show that you went on that you had the best reaction, or one where you thought, oh, wow, that was good?
I mean, there's a lot to say, but the ones where the pressure is the biggest, like America's Got Talent, it's in its own league. That's like jet fuel for a career, because so many people watch that show, not just in America and Canada, but I mean all over the world. Those videos, they get millions of views, and it's a global phenomenon. People will see that and write to me from India, from Brazil, from Australia, from Singapore. I get people that I don't even know how they found my videos. But they get behind you. So when that show's going on, it's one of the few things you can watch on TV that's kind of family appropriate. You can get your 6-year-old in the room, you can get your teenager, and you can all unite in this one thing where even if you don't like sports, this is like a family-friendly sports game where you go, this is my guy, or this is my girl, or this is my team, and people invest their emotions in you. If you go on Jimmy Fallon or you go on Colbert, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. You go on any of those morning shows, but nobody remembers you a month later. The year, 2 years, 3 years after America's Got Talent, I get people all the time. They come up to me and they go, I voted for you. And that's really something because it's like, wow, I can't believe you invested your emotion, energy, and you dialed a phone number for me or downloaded an app. I mean, my family barely voted for me. I'm very impressed when all of you, did this for me. So, yeah, I would say that some of the rounds, especially the live rounds when you're in America's Got Talent, and 14 or 15 million people are watching you at that moment. And it's not like singing, which I'm not knocking singers by any stretch. You can get nervous up there. But what I do has real elements of risk, real elements. Like when you're doing a mind reading show, there's nothing set up. It's not fake. When I say to Heidi Klum, think of any card in the deck right now, and I look her in the eyes, and I just say 3 of diamonds, if she says no, there is no out. There's no like magic, like, that's it. You're done.
Right, no backup plan.
Nope, it's do or die. And that focuses your mind in a way like laser focus that I can't explain to anyone else. You are so present in that moment because there's no other way to put it. It's not like a live show where I have time. On live TV, the clock is not your friend. When it hits the button at the end, beep, you're done. If you didn't do what you had set out to achieve, you're out.
Tell us about the format of your show for the listeners out there that are curious to, check it out for the first time.
Absolutely. So I have a few different things I do. For example, I've had a lot of TV appearances. I had a network special on NBC this year, which, knock on wood, we are trying to get picked up. So whatever anybody out there can do, if you have your contacts in TV networks, or you know somebody good, it's called Oz Knows. It rhymes. My name is really weird. It's spelled O-Z, so it should be Oz. But I was born in Israel. It's an Israeli name, so it's got a long O. It rhymes. So Oz Knows was on NBC this summer. It's kind of like a travel show meets Undercover Boss, where I go into all these different locations, and they don't know that I'm a mentalist. And imagine what happens when you go into like a restaurant or this and that, and suddenly they're like, who's this guy reading my mind? We did it in New York for the first episode, and it was really fun. Just a really fun, humorous, entertaining, and kind of educational show. For my live show, I do a lot of corporate events. I do a lot of private functions. I tour some theaters and casinos. Yeah. And it's a show where in any given hour, that if I'm doing a 60-minute performance, 40, 50 plus people in the audience will be in it. And I throw Frisbees. We, toss things out in the audience. You never know if you're going to get called. The person sitting all the way in the back nosebleeds or the person in the front row is fair game. And you can very well be a part of the show and hopefully become a believer where you go, whoa, this mentalism stuff, I didn't buy it, but now I do.
Do you do mental tricks on your own family? Walk us through your family. Who's all in the O's?
We've got the wife. And we've got 2 little boys. I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old.
Do you trick your wife? Do you play games?
Right now I'm trying to trick my 6-month-old to sleeping. I look at him and I'm like, Louis, go to sleep, because our first son went to sleep within 3 months and he was like an angel. And our second boy, I adore him. He is the greatest kid in the world from the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., but then it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. My wife, I do not trick very often because she is very fast company. She is way ahead of the game. I can't pull anything over on her. Okay, so you can't really play mental tricks on her at this point. I can, but she's just too astute and too sharp. It's like the ultimate achievement is when you fool other mentalists. Right? When we do something and the other mentalist looks at you and goes, how'd you do that? Right? That's a real satisfying feeling. It's kind of the same with her, only she's not as into mentalism. So it's almost more difficult because at least other mentalists love the craft. For her, I don't think I would have been with her if she loved it that much. She was kind of like, all right, you do good stuff. I'm done with it. Like after the first date, I kind of didn't do that many more magic tricks for her. And I think that was part of the appeal. How long have you guys been married? 6 years. So as you think back, let's say 6 years ago, when you guys first got married, before your career really began to take off, did everybody think that you were nuts? So I think it wasn't so much nuts. I mean, people are happy for you. I think that in general, if nobody is if you're not asking anyone to put their hand out and pay the bills, then people are happy for you, but they might still think you're a little crazy, right? Because especially when you had a steady job, I had a pretty, not astronomically high paying by any stretch, but for a 22 or 23-year-old kid, I had a very good job with a lot of growth potential. But the fact is, everyone there knew when I quit my job, there was no shock. Nobody goes, I can't believe you're doing this. Everyone said, yes, this is what you were destined for. They knew because I performed at the office all the time. Everybody knew I was a magician. And so everyone was happy for me. I think people want to see other people succeed for the most part. Even if you get a little jealousy sometimes because you're still miserable, deep down inside, you do like seeing others succeed because it gives you that element of, wow, I could do this too. You need somebody as a mentor or a role model or somebody to look up to. And that's what I felt. I felt nothing but positive energy from all the people around me. Keep in mind, again, I wasn't saying, hey, I can't pay the rent. Could somebody loan me a few bucks? I think that changes the dynamic considerably. If you're not reliant, if you don't have a lot of overhead or expenses, that can be a whole different level of stress. I would never have done this now with the wife and 2 kids. If the mortgage and everything, if I was just doing this now and I still had a day job for 12 years, I don't think I would have the courage to do it. It takes a lot of courage to leave a paycheck.
When you went out on your own, being self-employed, what was the most challenging aspect of realizing you no longer have that cushion? What was the most challenging event in your route to becoming your own TV show host and the mentalist that everybody knows?
It's so simple. Day one, morning one, sitting on the couch and realizing I don't have to do anything. That's it. There's no boss. You have no boss. You have no accountability. If you don't have a drive and a self-motivation from within, there is no such thing. It's not like in the movies where somebody's out singing and an agent walks by and hears you singing on the screen and goes, oh, my God, what a voice, what a look, you're going to be a star.
Right.
That doesn't exist for anyone. That doesn't exist anywhere, anyhow. Even if you hear a story like that, that person made their luck to be at that place and at that location and to be good enough to impress that person, if that makes sense. There is nobody that got where they are, at least in the world of entertainment, by luck. I don't believe it. They made their luck. It might be a percentage, 20%, 80%, but there is a huge chunk where that person had to be in the right spot at the right time, and generally it takes like 10 years to be that overnight success, even with people you hear about. Keep in mind, there's a few one-offs here and there.
Right.
Like I just read a thing about a 7-year-old YouTube kid that's making $22 million a year, but I don't think I bought that winning lottery ticket. So for me, it was day one, the hustle. For me, it was day one of I need to go out there and define my success, and there is no playbook for this. This isn't like going and getting an MBA where I sign up for school. This is the school of figure it out for yourself, and the way to figure it out is read, learn, attempt, fail, and iterate. And that's what I did. Honestly, I didn't know about marketing. I didn't pay anything. I didn't spend any money on Google optimization. I went out and started figuring out who can afford me. They have to have money. So they're probably having parties. And where do parties? They're going to restaurants. Which restaurants they're going to? Probably steakhouses or Italian ones. And like high-end stuff. Where are corporate people? Because I want to be a corporate entertainer. Where are they? And I started figuring out, where do I want to be? How do I want to get known? By the right people. And that's really what it comes down to. I think everything in life is some sort of a networking where you need to find the right people and you need to find a way for them to give you the information you want to learn about. And I find a lot of that is flattery, asking. If you don't ask, you'll never get there. I get asked all the time by other performers that do what I do, how'd you get on TV? And I go, well, did you ask? And they go, no. And I go, what do you think they're going to do? Call you? I mean, it's so funny, but it's so obvious. You have to make your own luck.
You had a knowledge bomb you just said there that blew my mind. This is what you said. Entrepreneurship essentially is read, learn, attempt, iterate. Am I correct?
I just made it up. I don't know. That wasn't like something that I've said before. Just that's what I did.
But I mean, we hear so many successful entrepreneurs tell us the same. You know, they might say it differently, but that is powerful. Now, because I am not a mind reader, I have to ask you, what is one entrepreneurial book or one business book, maybe a marketing book that you read along the way that you feel like was the most helpful for you as you're reading and learning and attempting?
So it's almost a cliche because everyone says the same one. At least I've seen it. But the How to Influence People and Win Friends by Dale Carnegie is just a game changer for me. Just everything about it is how to display tact, how to learn everything in that book, like from sending thank you cards to learning people's names and everything about it, the soft social skills that surround being successful in any avenue in life, in your personal life, in your business. That book was really defining for me. I think there's just things in that book where if you read it, and I try to revisit it every couple of years, I haven't done it, and just saying this to you gets me fired up. I should reread the book and find new nuggets. But that book was a real game changer for me. And I read that in the early 2000s when I was going to quit my job, and a lot of the ideas and kind of tactics he brought up in there, I started to employ right away as a rule of thumb. Following up, how to do follow-ups, how to build rapport, because so much of it is building rapport. People will do business with people they like.
True.
Like I have a lot of service providers in my life that I don't go back to them all the time and find out, can I get a better deal from someone else? Can I not? Because I like working with them.
Right.
And whatever that cost is if I like them, I trust them. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like the CYA approach, the cover your butt, where I like to be that person for event planners that come to me. I want to be the easiest person to work with. I want them to know that I'm going to do a great job, be on time, and make them look like a superstar, and have all their clients and their end person, the executive that wanted me and called their executive assistant to be like, where did you find this guy? He was so good. He exceeded all expectations. Always be able to exceed expectations.
Dale Carnegie, one of the things that he has written about is that you have to be sincerely interested in the other person for them to be interested in you. And I know the Thrive Nation is super interested in you. And for sake of time, I want to give you the floor. Is there any particular message you'd like to share with the Thrive Nation, or a particular website you'd like to have them visit, or an action step you want them to take?
Well, here's what I want to do. So it's very funny because it's always when I explain to people what a mentalist is, there's this little inkling at the back. It's like we just had a school meetup with some parents of other kids, and they go, well, what's a mentalist? And they just sit there, and they don't want to say it, but they're like, do something, right? And so nothing will define it. Like, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let me show you something. So right when we jumped on the call, and I want you to vouch for this, I said, we're just about to start. I go, do me a favor. I want you to think of something, right? I want you to think of something. And you didn't tell me anything, nothing. I said, get a thought in your mind, because I said, what is it about Clay Clark that excites you? I wanted to flip the tables. And I said, think of something that you don't even know why you're going to think about it. Is that what I told you to do right before you hit record?
Yes, and Devin is here to verify, too.
And so the way the mind works is when I tell someone to think of something, I was the director. I forced upon you, do this now. And you go, what am I going to do? And so naturally you think of something, and your mind sometimes changes, and you switch. You thought of one thing, and then you change your mind to something else. Is that also a true statement?
True.
Okay. Now, what I like to do is go back to the source. So once you changed your mind, you have a thought in your mind right now. But here's what I always love. Here's what interests me the most is, what did you think of first? What popped in your mind first? So go back to that, because I don't care what you have in mind now. Maybe somehow in the conversation I picked up on it. We've been talking for 20 minutes. Get rid of it. The thing you thought of first. The categories generally are person, place, or thing as to what people think about. I don't think you did a place. I just don't see it for you. Maybe you wanted a vacation. It's New Year's. I don't see it for you, Clay. I see you enthralled by people. That's your topic. That's your passion. Am I right that you were thinking of a person?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you could have thought of somebody dead or alive. I did not tell you what to do. You could have thought of Winston Churchill. You could have thought of Alexander the Great, but you're into current affairs. You don't want to. History is great, but something you can see, touch, or taste. My instinct says somebody alive and well, somebody that would have interested you. Here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to just repeat every category I say really fast. I want you to just repeat it. Politics.
Politics.
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Sports.
Sports.
Economy.
Economy.
Business.
Business.
Persons in sports. Am I right?
Yes.
Could tell where you rushed through it. Where do you live? There's no research. I actually don't know. Where do you live?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, see, Tulsa wouldn't have been. I don't know if you would have done something Tulsa related. And then one question for you: sports. Two different kinds of sports: singular sports, people that play tennis, for example, golf, and then there's people that play team sports. Team sports. Say those two. Say sport, then say team sport.
Sport, team sport.
I'm going to say it's a team sport. Do you know, don't tell it to me, do you know this person's jersey number?
Yes.
Think of that number. Think if it's a single digit or double digit. Single digit, double digit, same two digits. 22. The number's 22. Am I right? Is this Will Clark from the San Francisco Giants?
Yes. That's amazing. Oh.
You got to tell us. You got to be honest. You got to really be honest. I know the truth because I know I spoke to you for a minute when we got on air.
Real quick, just for the listeners.
There is no way in the world I could know that. We're not in the same location. We never spoke before today. Is this all true?
Yeah, and I wore Will Clark's jersey, number 22, when I played baseball as a kid. And he's left-handed. I'm left-handed. He's my favorite baseball player of all time.
Well, you chose right. I chose right. That's you asked me what mentalism is. That's me getting into your mind.
Oh,
kind
that's
of like
crazy.
Hacking into a safe. Only the safe is in your brain.
Real quick, in Thrive Nation, I want to make sure that you all understand this. I am calling you via Skype, recording this through our studio here at the Man Cave Studios. You're on a phone.
We're not on video. We're not on video.
Not on video.
I didn't see you.
You couldn't look at me. You didn't see me. That is crazy.
So, to be honest, this is what I just did is really, really boring compared to my live show because without visual, it's kind of like me painting with my eyes closed. No, I really want to give you that. Like, it's quicker, much more dynamic. When you see me in person, I can watch because your body language is 90%. What I just did is like reading Braille. If I can see you face to face, the level of depth and how the show goes is much better. That's just something I've adapted to the radio or podcast because I can't see you. So I have to narrow down like what I'm trying to what I'm trying to read.
You know, Oz, typically, for the Thrivers know this, we have about 500,000 people per month that download the podcast, and we usually have, Devin, a different person every day, a different guest every day. But I think I might just play this show every day for the next month because my mind cannot possibly handle this. I mean, it is epic. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I hope, and we're going to make a point of having you see me at some point live, face-to-face. I actually have a show in Oklahoma City coming up.
Do you?
Maybe, I don't know how far is Tulsa?
It's about 90 minutes from Oklahoma City.
I thought so. I thought you weren't that far. I thought it was about 2 hours. So, yeah, maybe we'll sneak you down in there. It's a corporate show.
Yeah.
But you'll be my, let's just say, I'll say you're my magical assistant. We'll have you in the back. But we'll talk off air. We'll see if maybe we can get you to see a real show because that's next level. I haven't blown your mind yet. That was like you just had a crouton. We didn't even get to the salad or the filet mignon.
Now, Thrive Nation, we like to end each and every show with a boom. Oz, we always say 3, 2, 1, and then boom. Are you prepared to bring a boom, my friend?
I will. One more thing because I forgot about your question.
Yes.
If you want to know the latest happenings, the two best ways to find it is my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Social, it's at Oz the Mentalist, so it's at OZ the Mentalist, and then just go to there. You'll find my website and stuff. Everybody just does social nowadays.
Unbelievable. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom! Here's the deal. If you give me a few decades, I'm going to figure out that trick. That's just, I don't know how he did it over Skype without looking at me. Devin is on the show as a witness, one of our coders, to see it. I'm not exactly sure how he did it, but if you give me a few decades, maybe 3 decades, I will figure it out. Now, if you're out there and you're saying, look, I don't want to get that kind of magic. I just need the magic that helps me grow my company. If you're saying, you know what, I need to see the Wizard of Oz, but for my business, because I need to learn all of the things. I need to find the yellow brick road to grow my business. I would encourage you today, go to thrivetimeshow.com. What? Go to thrivetimeshow.com and book your tickets today for the in-person Thrivetime Show workshops. The tickets are $250, right? We only allow 2,500 attendees per year, and that includes access to a video vault of everything you could possibly ever want to know about growing the company. So you get the ticket to the in-person workshop. You get to have a year's access to the training videos. It's all there for $250. Or if you want one-on-one coaching, you can schedule your 13-point consultation with a member of our team today. And should we have an availability, we'd love to help you. We can only work with 160 clients at a time, so we're typically booked out, or we have like 1 spot or 2 spots. But go to thrivetimeshow.com. Fill out the form, schedule a meeting. We'd love to help you at the workshop. We'd love to help you through the podcasts. We'd love to help you. If you want to download the ebooks for free today, you can. You can download the Boom Book. That's the book that we use to teach at the conferences. You can download the Start Here book for free. That's the Amazon bestseller that I wrote with Marshall Morris. You can download a lot of these things for free. The book's for free. You can attend the workshop for $250 and gain access to the videos. You could schedule a free consultation to learn if the coaching system is right for you. Either way, we are here to help you, Thrive Nation, but we can't help you if we don't get a chance to know you. And now, without any further ado, we like to end each and every show with a boom, but we already had a boom. So I want to just build your faith today by queuing up an audio testimonial from a real thriver out there just like you. This is somebody who listened to the podcast, listened to the show, and said, you know what? My business is kind of stuck, and I need some help. And so during this audio testimonial, I'm going to queue up the audio here. This is from a person out there just like you. This is a roofer by the name of Kevin Lewis, and his company was stuck, and we helped him to get unstuck. And that is what we're all about here, is to help you achieve time freedom and financial freedom, both the time freedom and the financial freedom. We believe you can achieve both. We help people do it every day. And I just want to encourage you that you can do it. This is Kevin Lewis with Lewis Roofing.
It's the smartest thing you could ever do. But I always warn people before. I've actually sent people over, but you have to sell out. You have to believe, and when you do, you will see amazing things. It's been a game changer, really has, and I recommend it to everybody. I mean, everybody needs it. I don't care. I mean, there needs to be an employee coach, to be honest with you. So it's an amazing journey.
Well, Chuck, I'm going to let you have the final word on this, but I will just say we have a coaches meeting every single day with all the business coaches, and that coaches meeting starts typically at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's at 6 a.m.
Right.
And on Mondays, it's at 7 a.m.
Correct.
And the purpose of that, Kevin, is to have wins of the week. We start off the meeting by sharing wins. Any client that had a big win, we want to share in their success. The second is if a client is stuck or they're unable to execute or get something done, we want to, as a team, as a family, as a coaching program, to discuss where the client's stuck and figure out the best plan to help them get unstuck. And that's why I'm in each of those meetings. And I also help make all the paths for all the clients. And Erica's had nothing but great things to say about you. And I just want to ask you this before I give Eric the final word. Is your wife a fan of Eric? I mean, is your wife happier now? I mean, is he really making your wife crazy now? How are things going now? Is your wife a fan of the coaching program?
She's 100% fan of the coaching program. She worked in the coaching program for about a week until I fired her. I learned real quick that's we're going to keep church and state separated.
Okay,
but
well. So
that's real. That's real.
That's real. That's real talk. We're keeping the church and the family separated, and so with that, but is she happier overall? Like maybe by 1% or?
Oh no, I'd say at least 50%. I mean,
yes,
boom,
yes. Miss Lewis
now,
is
it's not
happy.
Eric, it's me. Let's
of course.
clarify.
No. Yeah.
But yeah.
He's an
That'd be
Adonis.
weird. But long story, it's just simple things. I'm able to, as she puts it, communicate better now.
Nice.
Because I'm not thinking of all this other stuff, and it's good stuff.
Chop, you have the final word, my friend. Give us a capstone thought about coaching Kevin Lewis and what that experience has been like for you, and what makes Kevin so awesome.
Well, Kevin is a protochild, whatever you poster child for stoicism. So he's a guy who will come in and say, "Give me a big win, man. What's going on this last week for you?" And he'll say, "Landed a $2.2 million job." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's just another day." And then he'll come in and say, "Oh, I got a competitor out of state trying to come in and steal my people or whatever." And just another day. So I don't have to worry about, hey, we get lost in the weeds in the coaches meetings. It's all action on, hey, what do we need to do here? Some meetings we call up and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm rock and rolling. You good? You need anything from me? Nope. You good? Yeah, we're good to go." Some meetings we get into some weeds about expansion.
You've had
and other
meetings
things.
where Kevin has had an employee. Yeah, you've had a competitor try to steal your employees.
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And I do too every week, right, Kevin? Is there not a burning fire every week?
Oh, every week. Yeah.
Always.
But yet Kevin is stoic, so he's able to push through that.
Right. The lows are not low. The highs are not too high. He's just even keel. And so it's very easy to focus on those key performance indicators and actually, just like he said earlier, make sure the business is going in the right direction. And when the business is going in the right direction and you're accomplishing your own goals with your family, it's a fun time. So we have a good time when we meet, and we just make sure that things are happening the way they need to happen.
Kevin, for everybody out there who's listening in Green Country that wants to have a roof put on their commercial building or their residential property, how can they get a hold of you? What's your website, and really, why should people call you?
Well, it's lewisroofing.com, and if they want a company that's going to be honest and do a good job, and we're the company to call. I put my family name on the business, not hiding behind some fake name. We are 100% the real deal, not a bunch of sales guys trying to sell a bunch of stuff. We are a roofing company that's all we do is roofing.
And so. Thrive Nation, I've worked with a lot of roofing companies where we've done a 13-point assessment with them, and it is rare to find a roofing company that we would even approve to coach. I want you to know this. We go through the assessment, and probably 80% of the time we say, well, it's not a good fit. But Kevin's a great guy.
Grinder.
He stands behind his program. He puts his name on the website, on the business, on the marketing, on the trucks, on everything. Check him out today. That's Lewis Roofing. That's lewisroofing.com. And Kevin, I appreciate you taking time out of your day away from your family and your business to share your story here on the podcast and the radio show. Hope you have an awesome day, my friend.
All right. Thank you. You have an awesome day, too.
Take care. Psst. Thrive Nation, are you still there? Pearlman, secretly, between you and me, he kind of freaked me out.